All right, welcome back, everybody. Once again to the Gauntlet. We are looking to get into round number 2, and it was a good start. Justice, I think they had a little bit of a rough going to begin with, but they did start to bring it back and grow in a positive direction just in time to go up against Icon.
That's scary going up against Icon too. They're starting to build that momentum. Icon last week against Out of Order couldn't stop Out of Order once they got that train going.
That's right. They got finally got things in order. It seemed as though they were a little bit unshackled in the way that they played. They played with a lot of confidence. I think that showed going through every match. They were fast starters. They took their opposition by surprise, and that, obviously yielded great results for them.
Thing with Team Icon though is they looked so rusty and slow the first 2 games. They couldn't get it together, and then they looked dominant. If they could have held that for the last 3 games, they would have reverse swept. If they can start the way they did in Game 3 this week, with Shady really firing up and CJ being so fast, they might be able to just really catch Justice off guard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I mean, we've seen Icon in action plenty of times as well. Normally they're at the business end of the competition. This time they're starting a little bit further back in the field. So
they're not going to be satisfied with that.
No.
3rd place, not good enough.
No, and I think
they
they
first seed in the first Gauntlet.
Yeah, they hold themselves to really high standards as well too. So I think for those guys, it's almost a mini redemption story. That's in terms of what the Gauntlet is a great insight into the season ahead for RLCS qualification. So for them, again, it's about getting themselves off to a good start.
So where do you think the biggest issue is? Is it in the team players' individual performance? Like who would you want to highlight?
I think there was a lot of mishitting of balls last week. We saw uncharacteristic misses from key players as well. Express, normally the most consistent player, wasn't actually that consistent.
I think the one downside you can really say, I mean, it's pretty much the perfect format, the Gauntlet. You couldn't get any better, except for the fact that when you're trying to warm up a team, usually you have other players in other teams in a big bracket that want to warm up against you. Because it's one match after the other, they didn't get that big warm up right before their match, and that can be really important in Rocket League to get your juices going, to get the rotations really up to speed. And I think Tainted Minds or Icon will have learned from that.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Now, to get just before we get started with this next round, I do want to take a moment to remind everybody that we are brought to you this week by Chicken Schnitzel Sandwiches. So thank you very much to ContraDuck for sponsoring this event with the prize pool. And if you want to have your own sponsorship and, within reason, get us to say whatever the heck you want, you can go ahead and donate down with the button below. All proceeds will go to future iterations of the Gauntlet. And, of course, we can't do this without the fans. So thank you all very much for supporting.
Yeah, keep it family friendly though. Of course, we're not.
We're not. Certain things we're not going to say.
I mean, we're one big family here, so it has to be friendly to us.
After all, we're in Yummy's bedroom. He's very accommodating of
We should have gotten some chicken schnitzel sandwiches, man.
Yeah, I blame the person who was running this event who didn't think of.
I know, right?
Things.
That guy.
Yeah.
Taking up with events. Really.
Good stuff. All right, so. Getting underway here, like Justice, we saw them kind of level up a little bit over the course of the series, but they did look a little rusty in the beginning. How scary is it up against Icon?
They're going to be worried, right? Because they're normally expecting that they be up against Out of Order right now. That is the team that they are most comfortable beating. Against Icon, that's a monolithic task. The fact that Out of Order took them down last week was a big surprise. If they can do the same, then all of a sudden that's going to blow the OC competition out of the water.
Yeah, I think, from Justice's perspective, there was a little bit of a hoodoo unbreaking from, which is awkward English, but Out of Order, they broke that hoodoo against Justice. They're now further on in the bracket. Justice now need to go back and go, oh, actually, that match that we were so sure of, it's not quite in the bag anymore. You saw in that shaky start against Manlet just before that they didn't look as confident as they have in previous weeks.
It's going to be tough. It is the hardest match you possibly can, but it is the most worthwhile match. If you can prove that you can take down Icon, you can get into the top 2 and make it into the World Championship.
Yeah, well, that's always the possibility of it happening. Looks like we're about to get underway in this game, and we'll see if Justice is sufficiently warmed up to be able to take it to Icon. If they can beat them, I mean, that's a hell of a run to start.
It is. I mean, it's one way to get yourself going. We saw it last week with Out of Order with their crazy run. Justice, they're starting from the further back in the field this week in previous weeks, but Icon, they're a completely different beast to the caliber of some of these teams.
They'll be trying to get a long run for Icon as well. They want to get that first place.
All right, we are underway here as the timer ticks down with Justice Esports taking on Icon. This time they'll be on the orange side. Justice, the lower seating coming through. It looks like Steve's going to start with that first touch here as we get into it. And I'll be joined this game by Mr. Jim Nesso.
Thanking you, and I'm keen to get my teeth into Rocket League this week. I think last week really set the tone. There was a big Cinderella story, per se, from Order. They couldn't quite finish it.
Yeah.
And this week we get to see them really strut their stuff.
I'm really excited to see what the former Order members can definitely bring here after the getting dropped by the Oregon, changing their name and really stepping it up. That's really kind of a feels-good thing at the end, the fact that they were able to make something positive out of it all. But that's still for the next round. We got to keep in this one right now because Justice, they're going to be looking to make a Cinderella run of their own here up against Icon. So far, it's just been a lot of bounces back and forth, a couple of high balls, definitely taking a leaf out of the manlet book. But Express is going to get back on the defense here. Looks like Steve tries to set up for a play. CJ is able to push that back.
I think what we'll see from Icon too is a really, really fast, aggressive game. But I mean, Steve that capitalizes on the opening in the net and mistakes early on from this Icon roster.
Yeah, there was a lot of bounces back up and forward, but you could see in Steve's vision, he saw that in an instant, and CJ just not in a position to respond for defense. So a minute into this first game, Justice have already managed to get one score, and Icon, they're going to have to find answers fast.
And that goal really caught us off guard because that's a default clearance for these Icon guys. So we can see that already early on, they have started a little bit slow. Against Justice, that might not be enough to get them across the line.
Yeah, a couple of demos on either side that'll reset momentum there. Yeetzy going in for the defense, trying to set this one up on the opposite side over to Misty. But it's Express with the high tap. In fact, CJ goes in and takes it himself. It's like, no worries, I got you. It's all good.
Well, that's the thing with Icon. They are very trusting in one another. They've been together for quite some time as well, compared to some of these newer rosters. Misty, he's one to look for on Justice's side because he's quite a live wire, but tell you what, Express charging in, didn't get the hit. This is what we saw last week. A few misses there, uncharacteristic of these players.
Yeah, we want to see Icon really tighten things up a little bit, not losing out of possession like they did just there. CJ going to be forced to defend. He's been all over the place so far. Definitely one of those iconic players, no pun intended. Shady going to pick it up for the defense once more, but you can see they're losing control of the ball pretty frequently on the Icon side.
They are, and I mean, as we said, that's a staple of their game. They control the game, they control the pace. Their passing is usually top-notch. They, from end to end, control the pace of play. They like to bump players around, get them off their game. It's not happening.
No, it's not. It's going to be forced to play defense for a little while, and Justice is going to try to pick them apart here. As Yeetzy lets that one sail over his head, still playing three up front already. Are the Justice side feeling warmed up, feeling themselves right now. Steve is going to beat Shady to the ball, sends this one high. In fact, it looked like it could have gone in, but it bounces off the backboard, giving CJ enough time to try and intercept. That's a dangerous pass to the center, forcing CJ to go for a wild clear there. Things are looking far from clean here, and it's going to be CJ that gets the long ball.
And that came from nowhere, too. This little flick, too, from CJ. And again, this is just pressure. They were under pressure for so much of it. Just off the roof of the car as well. Finds the bottom corner of the net, but
I'm not even sure if CJ thought that was going in.
oh, look, calculated. That's all I'm going to say about that. But for
That's
a
what
lot of that,
what a goal, what a goal.
for a lot of that lead up, it was Icon that were just absorbing pressure. They were stuck in their own half, no boost, nowhere to get out, and seemingly out of nowhere, they just find that opening.
So there's equalizer, and immediately CJ boots that one back in as it was a standstill right in front of the net. Let's take a look at this replay.
Oh, it's mayhem back there. It's an absolute menagerie as Justice really struggled to clear their lines. They couldn't do it. They had no boost. They were just throwing anything they could at that ball, and that was an easy open net there in the end for Icon.
So this has turned around for Icon in a big way right now. It was a very quick goal in the first minute of play in the favor of Justice, but Icon find a couple back, and they were kind of wild how they all occurred. Some weird defenses, two aside, really just kind of falling a little bit short on the Justice side. So they'll need to find some answers themselves in the last 2 minutes of play. However, they got to be careful not to get scored on themselves.
And I think Justice need to be careful here because if that cage of theirs gets rattled too much, it's Icon that's going to be the benefactor. They're going to be the ones to just pile on the hurt, pile on the goals, and you can see here, again, they're just peppering the net.
Yeah, Icon still going for this, trying to put away the game that looked a little rough for them at the start of it here. Some defense from the Justice side, though. Misty sitting inside of that net, gets the clear off. CJ bouncing it back into center. Shady going for it, beats Yeetzy to this ball. Steve and CJ going to go up for the bobble once again.
This is what we like to see
Oh,
from Icon.
oh no! CJ, that was just such an easy-looking bounce.
Was this in slow motion?
It was! And Misty just sees that fly by. Cue the yakety sax. This is getting silly.
Oh dear. And again, this is just Justice really struggling to cope because they're very, very boost starved at the moment. Icon doing a great job of just locking them in. It was them for the first moments of this half, just getting themselves, or should I say game, getting themselves locked in. They were struggling. They had no boost. They had nowhere to go. They finally found that release, and now they've turned on the pressure for Justice.
And this starts to kill your momentum if you're Justice. You were flying a little bit high since you picked things up a bit after that start of the series up against Manlet. And another one, Express knocks it in, and this game is out of reach.
It is. This is danger signs too for Justice as well, because we said that Icon are really slow starters. Yes, they started slow in this match, but they've really come to life as well. So I think what Justice needed to do was capitalize while Icon were down, but they're certainly not out, and they haven't been able to do so. And Justice have really turned things, or should I say, Icon have really turned things around. Justice looking wounded right now.
Yeah, Justice are going to have to find a way to mental reset after this game for sure. Still, not conceding it just yet, playing it out the rest of the way. However, it's going to be a lot of bounces, a lot of high balls here. Express going to ride that wall to keep control of it as much as possible. Nice little shot there on the opposite side, but it's going to amount to nothing. And at this point, this is where you can just play up front with everyone. Yeetzy goes for an opportunistic shot, because at this point, it doesn't matter if he gets scored on again. You're already losing.
They just need to go back to the drawing board, find themselves some early confidence, get themselves another goal here. Yes, it's going to be a consolation, but it's one of those momentum builders. It's a confidence builder as well, and definitely they're a young squad, Justice, and they can thrive on confidence.
Yeah, never underestimate power of getting a nice little boost there in the form of a goal. Mindset, really important, especially up the likes against a very talented and experienced roster together, like the former Tainted Minds members. Looks like they'll be almost a goal at the end, but it's not to be. So Icon, they could have easily put another one away, but they will be able to pick up game number 1 without a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I think, that last goal there, whilst it would have looked nice on the score sheet, no consequence for Justice. Justice now, it's about them going back and going, hey guys, look, we know they're slow starters. We need to get ourselves, into the mindset that we can beat them, because they're not infallible. Last week, we saw that they bled much more than they have in previous weeks. And even, as you said, going into the first week, they were seed number 1. So for them, they've been knocked off their perch somewhat. This, for Icon, is a great chance for them to build some confidence, have a run of their own in the Gauntlet. But, I mean, this is only match 1. It's a best of 5. There's still time for Justice to get themselves back into the groove. They can find it. It's just about getting their young guns into the game. We didn't see much from Steve and Misty. And obviously, Yeetzy went missing at times as well. They were just throwing bodies in front of the ball. It wasn't, very pretty
it's
whatsoever.
not the cleanest Rocket League for sure. And I think they kind of got dragged down to the Manlets level at the beginning of that series, but I can't help but wondering if there's ways for them to tighten it back up. Now, this is still a great story if you are the Justice side. If they can knock a couple of games out here, and even if they don't get the win up, the fact that they can challenge Icon does say some things. They just need to get better on the defense. So as we get into game number 2, we'll see if they're able to do that.
That's right. It was a bit, of a shamble there at the back. And I think these guys, if they can get themselves an early goal, maybe find themselves a second as well, they might find themselves some breathing space, because you could see then that once Icon opened the floodgates, there was no stopping.
All right, into game number 2. Currently, Icon leading after a big statement game 1. So far, though, Icon going to have to go high to take control of this ball, because it's a wild attack once again coming out of the side of Justice. Steve tries to send this one up to the center, but Express is wise to the tricks, and he gets a big old boot away. A few more bounces off the backboard. CJ sends this one flying, but it doesn't quite go into the net. Off the side it goes.
Need to be careful here as well, Icon. They were committing numbers forward. They have been known to sometimes get caught out on the fast break, particularly if they don't get that third man in the rotation who can find that ball, find that hit. And, Justice, they get themselves, more importantly, some boost and some time in their opposition's half.
And that's something you were talking about last game, boost starved. It's something that you'd never want to be as a team, but Justice really did seem to be lagging in trying to pick up some of those resources. So now, good to see them really picking up a lot more. A demo does go in favor as Yeetzy knocks that one in. It was a great pass from Misty.
This is where we saw Icon get caught out. Now, Express has only just come into that, but pass has already been made. That is about as open net as you can get. That is what Justice have done so well in previous weeks. We haven't seen it thus far in this game, but Icon, don't get me wrong, that Shady Express combo, they're always looking for that infield pass as well.
Well, the same thing happened last time around. We had an early goal out of Justice that ended up getting turned around by Icon. Let's see how well they respond to it. However, the pressure can be kept up here on the side of Justice. This could be a very different story in game 2. However, Shady looking to knock this one in. Oh, and it's so close in front of the net. The defense. Oh, 3 deep.
How does that stay out?
I have no idea.
A demo, you name it.
That was touching. That was touching the inside of the net.
Justice. They have kept themselves in this match. And from conceding a goal there, I have no idea how.
Yeah, close call here. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left to play. Justice playing with some more confidence, but you can see they've got to be so careful. They had to scramble 3 members to get into the net for defense. Icon have the ability to pick them apart, and they need to keep it away from their side of the court. Here we go, looking for a pass into Yeetzy. Gets intercepted though, and slow ball riding in by Shady, and he actually beats out a defender, passes it over to CJ. Yeetzy is going to go high for this one. Shady even beats him to it, get the center on, and Express is there. There's the combo you were looking for.
And there it is, 1-2 punch. They've been known for it time and time again. And even then, CJ going on, making a run, harassing the defense, pushing them out, bumping them out. That's what they do so well. Once they've made that pass, they go on to create something and gives their teammates some space to work with.
All right, now we're 1-1 even, getting close to that halfway mark of the game, and certainly not been shy for goal-scoring opportunities at all in this series between Justice and Icon. And it looks like it'll still be on the Justice side, but Steve gains control of the ball. Shady challenges him for every inch of it, though. It's been absolutely bloodthirsty in this one, and that's a dangerous clear. Yeetzy sends that one off. It goes back in again, forcing Steve to send it to midfield. Yeetzy's going to try to knock this one in with nobody at home. Misty tried to keep that in the air, but a great defense and a demo coming out of Express. Second chance here. Misty doesn't get it, though. Here's Express looking to knock it back over to CJ. Goes for the center. Beautiful. It just bounces right in.
That is finesse at its finest. So this infield pass, this touch from Express, just to take the heat off it and slow it down. CJ as well picked his gap. He caught Yeetzy in the wrong direction, and that was just placement.
He's so good at these corner balls, but he's getting some brilliant setups, and this is starting to look a lot like game number 1, Jim.
Oh, yeah. And look, for Justice, they need to find themselves a stabilizer goal here. They need to be the next ones to score. As we said, Icon, they can really heap on the pressure. They can turn it up and get a few goals. They need to be careful because right now, Justice are looking vulnerable. They need to be the ones to stabilize themselves.
Looking to try and get this one back in. Wild attack. It's always a bit of a wild card when you're talking about the way Justice playing this out right now. Ball's going a little high. It opens up an opportunity for Express and Shady to get in there, and we've seen them take little opportunities all the way into the back of the net before. CJ's still there as well to get this ball off the backboard, off the wall. A demo comes in for Yeetzy. CJ's got an open net, and wouldn't you know it, it's 3-1.
This is a fake out as well, if ever I've seen one. Nice little play there. Does nothing. This is Icon, unfortunately for Justice, just having a bit of fun with it as well. So intelligent play there from Icon, resulting in that goal. But, I mean, that's that pass off the wall from Shade that opened up nicely for CJ. And, again, the team play from Icon really coming to that forefront.
Beautiful individual performance, though, out of CJ, though. Good mind games coming out of him. And, challenge there. You can see that Justice starting to play with some frustration. They've got to make up 2 goals in a minute and a half. CJ's going to get a boot on it, though. You see, really nobody at home. It forces Yeetzy all the way back. CJ going to be able to center this one again. Unfortunately, Shady can't quite get to it. Express does beat out Misty on a demo, though. And that's going to be the reset. Set play there forces Misty to defend. Yeetzy off the ceiling, and a wild attack again, but it's defended by Express. Here's Misty. Steve can't intercept. CJ gets this back to midfield. Here's Shady again, looking to push this one into the center. It's CJ. He was going for himself a hat trick. Misty clears it. Dangerous territory for Justice. They would be going down 0-2 if this continues. 38 seconds to play.
You even saw Van Express just making a pest of himself. He had nothing to do. He had no burst left. He wasn't even looking for that ball, just looking to block opposition players and really stem that attack.
And you can see that Justice are trying to slow this down. They will find a goal. They pull it within touching distance. And, you know, you don't always want to go for the wild and crazy shots, so it's a really calculated setup here. They beat Express out and knock it all the way in.
A great pass from Yeetzy there as well, just to find his teammate. And as you said, 24 seconds left. 2 goals in Rocket League's not a great lead, and it's been narrowed down to 1. So this is going to be a fast and furious 22 seconds.
You're not kidding about that one. Already starting off with the demo, and it's on the Icon side. Yeetzy looking for an opening to get the center ball. Misty there, and once again, you see Justice playing 3 to the front. They can't afford to give anything up here. 10 seconds to play. CJ with the defense. Steve is going to be there to try and push it back, but he misses the ball. It's going to force Misty to come up, but it takes a bounce in favor of Icon, and now with no time remaining, they're going to have to keep this one in the air if they want to force OT. Express, he gets it. They're going to let this one go. Steve with the center. CJ bounces it back. No boost, and that's it. It's Icon 2-0.
Yeah, I thought that for a moment there that we would have a period of OCE keepy ups, but Icon get the job done. They do themselves justice, I think, in this game because they were in control from start to finish. I think there was a few tense moments there at the end. Justice got themselves a goal in the end, but Icon just showing that, they're a superior side in terms of their gameplay at the moment. Justice, I mean, again, they struggled through long periods of that game. And I think, there was just a mismatch in this particular game.
Icon keeping it clean, and this is the start of their redemption arc. Remember, they were knocked down a peg or two last week up against Out of Order, and they do not want to find themselves in that situation where they are on the losing end of a team they know that they can beat. They know that they're cleaner than. So far, they've proven it 2 games in a row. They're not immune to getting scored on. There's always an opportunity for a team like Justice to sneak in there, but if you put more goals away than your opposition, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, from end to end as well, Icon looked really comfortable.
Yeah, they did.
And they weren't getting caught off guard. They weren't overcommitting numbers as well. They were always comfortable with their rotations. They always had someone at the back. There was a few moments there where Justice were pushing numbers forward to try and find that goal, and it was a little bit tense that they potentially would have been caught off guard. And they managed to navigate their way through it. But this is do or die now for Justice. This is where they need to step up. Otherwise, they're going backwards in the Gauntlet.
Yeah, well, we'll see if a clean sweep is in the cards here for Icon, or will it be drawn out a little bit more. We have kickoff. Match point here for Icon. Shady going to take that touch and looks to knock it in. There's already a good defense coming out, though, of Yeetzy. We need to see more out of the defending of Justice. They've just let too many balls go through, playing very heavily towards the offensive, and it opens up opportunities, but it also does the same for your opposition. CJ is going to send that. It was so close, but Steve was there. A second wind attempt, and Shady tries again, but so many saves here, and that does open up a counterattack. CJ has already gotten back to the net, though.
Tell you what, Justice on that scramble defense are looking fantastic. They haven't been cracked just yet. There was even just in that previous game, I have no idea how some of the goals were kept out, but they managed to do so. They hold on early on.
They do well in chaos, for sure. And it looks like CJ tried to send that one flying. You can just see a clash of styles between the two teams. Yeats is going to take this ball high. Steve looking to knock it forward. It's a slow roller, but Express has got it on the defense. Misty steals away some boost from him. There's the challenge at Yeatsy. However, it opens up an opportunity for CJ. Sends it off the wall. Express looking to bounce, center it. Shady's going to have to be there to pick it back up, and CJ actually helps tip it over to him. Once again, though, Misty, you can see that the challenges that Justice are going for to grab all of this boost to try and starve out their opposition is tough, and Express is going to just tip that one in on the second wind.
Yeah, I think sometimes maybe they prioritize boost over ball a little bit because they've still got to outplay their opposition somewhat. You can just see Express, he doesn't miss those. You give him an opportunity like that, he's going to take it every day of the week. But
yep.
I think there's times where they just need to challenge the ball instead of just trying to steal their opposition's boost.
You've got to prioritize, and sometimes it comes down to a difficult decision here. Demo starts this one off, 1-0 already in favor of Icon. Match point for them. 3.5 minutes left to play. Shady's going to be playing defense off the backboard. Looks like the boost once again picked up by Misty as he challenges for the ball, pushes it back to midfield. CJ and Express are here. Yeatsy trying to get the defense, but now you can see it's Icon playing with the more boost, and no one's at home. Shady tips it in.
This is, again, just Justice not quite being ready for it, not quite challenging as well. You can see that was set up nicely. Shady up for that so quickly. Yeatsy tried to get himself in front of it, but, I mean, Shady had him beaten to the ball every day of the week there. So, Justice, they're under the pump early on in the piece. There's a lot of time to play with, but they've got to really deal with Icon coming out the force.
But things are going in a negative direction for Justice. At least they had a goal to deal with the last couple times around. They were able to start off on positive momentum, but not the case this time. 2-0 with 3 to play. Express going to send this one high, looking to set this up. CJ puts it into the corner. Express bounces it again, forcing Justice to play on the defense. That's all Icon have to do. They can still threaten with these crazy set plays, but they don't even have to knock it in right now if they can keep the ball on that side. Express is going to go ahead and center this one once again. However, it's Misty that tries to set it up. Ball in a dangerous position. Express, though, is going to shepherd it away. Not if Steve has anything to say about it. He tries to get the center. CJ is going to be able to clear it out of there. Beats Misty out. And Yeatsy and Steve are going to go back into the net to try and set this up. Threatening still is Express and Shady. Sends this high.
This is one of the better performances we've seen from Icon as well in the Gauntlet thus far. So they've come out of the gates roaring, and there's a demo there just to make sure nobody was getting that ball. No shots on goal whatsoever, but Shady, he's always looked dangerous.
He has. Misty has as well, though, in his short tenure here on Justice so far, and that's, I think, why you've got to demo a player like that when he's got an open net situation. 2 minutes to play now. Still some chances. Only 2-0 up. We have seen Justice make some magic before, but can they do it up against Icon? It's a tough order. Eatsy looks to center. CJ on the intercept. Sends this one high. Still forcing Justice to play on the defense, and Shady just challenges every single time. Here's CJ with the clear.
I was going to say, you can even see that Justice right now, their rotations went great. That all three players were sitting in a very, very similar area of the field. So there's maybe just a bit of chaos there in the communications and not quite allowing Justice to play their full potential. These guys have got great individual skill. Can they piece it together? We don't know their skill ceiling yet either. I think that's the scary part of some of these Justice players, is that they're young, they haven't got a lot of experience compared to their opposition. So they're going to need to take every opportunity here against their, I guess, much more battle-hardened opposition in Icon.
Yeah, and Icon are really showcasing that experience does count for a lot. They're instigating all these set plays, whereas you see these individual shots, a little wild, a little uncontrolled. Sometimes they'll go in, but when they don't, you don't have anybody back there to really try and make a second attempt. So while they'll get something almost here, Misty can't quite send it in, and he's got to be kicking himself. The angle was just off. Yeatsy going forward now. We've got a minute left to play, and this is the tournament hopes for Justice. They're on the verge of getting knocked out in a clean sweep.
There we go.
Steve, he's finally going to be able to knock it in. So 48 seconds to play. This is the chance for Justice.
I think this is going to be probably their only opportunity to get themselves back into it as well. They need to be the first to capitalize again after that kickoff too. Steve, open net for him. If Misty had got that second touch as well, I mean, he's been having a banger of a game thus far, but he just ran out of boost at the wrong moment. So Justice, small glimmer of hope.
45 seconds left to equalize. Try and force OT here and keep the series going. No one wants to be swept out. The Gauntlet, they're already safe out of requalification territory, but that's not going to be good enough for a team like Justice as CJ bounces it in. 3-1.
Caught flat-footed as well. Look, all three of them boot up in the net. You got to back your teammate to make that challenge as well. He didn't quite get there in the end, and I think from Justice's perspective, maybe feeling a little bit hard done by in that instance. But I mean, from Icon, it's been a class performance from since they could see that first goal in the very first game. They haven't looked back.
No, they haven't. Icon looking to forward their redemption arc. Have a date with Destiny up against Out of Order next. 20 seconds before that happens. 2 goals to make up if you're Justice. Hope is fading here. Misty's still going to keep this one going, though. The ball takes a bounce in their favor, but they need to get the center up, and CJ and Shady are there to clear it. Yeatsy going for the attack. 6 seconds now. They need to get one in and then force a wild shot, but they're not going to get the opportunity. Here's Yeatsy. He will be able to send it in just barely, but it's going to be all over an Icon with the 3-0 sweep.
And they have looked, as I said, from start to finish, they looked like they were in control. Yes, there was some, I guess, a period of blowing out the cobwebs there, but they're going to be better for this run too. If you look at the entire bracket, the way that they're going to make their way through now is they're coming up against opposition like Out of Order. They're going to want to avenge last week's happenings as well. They've got a game under their belt this time, so they've got no excuses for warm-up. They're looking sharp, but their challenge awaits them.
Certainly does. Now, welcome back, Yummy, and how'd you think of that series, man? It looked like Icon really showed up.
I mean, they did, and they were really shutting down Justice Esports.
Yep.
I think was the real story there. Justice Esports, they had a few opportunities, and when you have as little opportunities, when you Justice Esports expecting to get a lot of them, you have to sink them, and they just weren't. Even in that last game, there were just 2 big goals that should have been goals, and they just didn't finish them off. One of them was pretty much one of the easiest goals of all time. It was very open, and it just wasn't quite there. We know that they can do better, so I am looking forward to see them again. But when it comes to Icon, this is the real story, I think, coming through. Last week, they really struggled. They lost to Out of Order. They're going to get another chance to take down Order, but they're also going to be incredibly hungry for that first place. And this is the day they can do it.
They certainly can. I mean, they placed, or they put into the finals automatically in the first Gauntlet, but ever since then it had been a bit downhill. So we're looking for that redemption arc coming out of them, because it's not just Out of Order they want to beat. It's going to be Chiefs, who are waiting in those finals for them. If Icon can, reclaim that title, reclaim the throne. Chiefs have been 3-0 in the Gauntlet already. And I think if you are looking at the Icon side, they definitely want to knock them off that top spot.
For sure. They're not going to be satisfied with anything but first. They came into the season with an interview where they claimed that they were the undisputed #1 team. Of course, maybe
I like it.
interviewer bias,
You
but
need
they were the
confidence.
undisputed #1
Yeah, they
team.
kept their team
They
together.
have
There were
to.
changes on everyone else's roster.
This is their chance to get that title back. They have to prove that as a trio, they are the best team. They can beat those guys that have shaken up their roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like it. I like confidence going into anything, and I think not being afraid to state yourselves as #1. If you feel that's the case, go for it because I think that adds to the level of theatre that Rocket
Mhm.
League needs in the scene as well. So, hats off to them if they can back themselves in like that. Obviously, you got to put the performances in on the pitch as well. That'd definitely help
Yeah.
your claims. But I think what it did too is it motivated some of the other teams in the region to really step up their game as well. So I think against now out of order
Yep.
we get to see whether or not that was a blip on the radar. We get to see whether or not they can actually back it up now in week number 2 and not just say, well, this was just a good day for us
Well,
out
the
on the
big
field.
difference is it was a 3-0. That is a clean. They've come in fast. They don't have to worry about warm ups, and they were solid against out of order. They just let that last game through. So I think if we see that again, it might go the other way.
Oh, I'll let things settle. We're going to be taking a quick break. When we return, it will be the rematch between Icon and Out of Order in our penultimate match. Don't go anywhere. The Gauntlet will return in just 5.